Hey guys, another video of the Buying a House in Japan playlist. Some of you will already be familiar with this project. Back at the old farmhouse, was looking a bit ratty, wanted to paint it, but first had to get the Unskilled tin man to come and replace that rusty tin with some new tin, which he did. If you haven't seen that video already, it was about a week ago if you want to check that one out. So first project today was to remove all the insect screens. There might be a couple of people out there who might know the story of those insect screens. When we first bought this old house, the old man who owned it had just nailed some blue screen over all the windows to stop the bugs getting in. It was horrible. The windows hadn't been cleaned in forever, so we had to tear all that off. And then we had to actually tailor make these because it's a sliding window with a storm shutter on the outside. There's no real store-bought type insect screen you can buy for those windows, so we had to tailor make them with their own design, which worked pretty well. They've been there for 10 years and they're all in pretty good condition. They just needed a bit of a clean and a little bit of a tidy up, some small repairs, but basically still in really good condition, so that worked. So take off the screens, give the windows a rough clean. This is just with a squeegee, boom boom boom, just a bit quick, just to get rid of the dust, and then get to work with the spray gun. So the thinking is that some of that spray would end up on the fly screen, on the insect screen. Very hard to clean that off. However, if some ends up on the glass, doesn't really matter because it's easy to clean off, isn't it? Bit of a hit with the scraper and then window washer and it's done. So just a little bit of protection there with that bit of cardboard just to sort of stop it getting too serious on the window frame or the window itself. That works really well, by the way, you might have noticed. One hand with the piece of cardboard, the other hand with the spray gun. Works pretty well. So it was a bit of a rush on to get the unpainted metal painted because there was rain coming. We had 3 days of rain coming. So that's why sort of just focusing on getting that bare tin painted up, getting a coat on that before the rain started. Move the downpipe out of the way for now. A bit of a plan for that for later. So water-based paint, guys. There's an inside joke. Speaking of inside jokes, can anyone see the character in the window there? What are you doing? What are you doing, clown? Someone's having a good time there. Hey, very cool. So yeah, water-based paint, wonderful stuff. Just so much easier. Just so much easier. Actually started off with a little bit of water in it and then found it didn't need it. Just stopped putting water in it, just doing it just with the paint. It worked pretty well. What's going on here? Oh, just clean. Oh, it's raining. It's pouring with rain. Pouring with rain, so it couldn't paint. So cleaning up the frames, because they cleaned the glass already, but the frames were a bit sort of dirty and want to paint them white. So cleaned up the frames and then still raining, 3 days of rain. So just tidying up those fly screens a bit, the little rubber seals from the sides of them, and just giving them a bit of a clean, blowing them with the air gun just to blow the dust off. And then finally, after 3 days of rain, the rain stopped, and then we had 30 knots of wind. Really windy it was, 30 knots. Fortunately, it was blowing towards the front of the house, so it wasn't quite 30 knots out the back here, but it's pretty close, as you can see by that mist blowing away there. 30 knots of wind, 3 days of rain, and then the next day 30 knots of wind, and then the next day was really nice. So we haven't got to that day yet. You're still looking at the 30 knots of wind day. Just sprayed under the lip of that tin, that new tin. As someone pointed out, it's those little suspended drops probably that brought the rust on there in the first place. So somebody suggested putting some paint on the underside of that tin. So the Unskilled painter did that. Occasionally our viewers give us some really good advice. It happens. in amongst some pretty strange advice, we sometimes get some really good advice, some little gems of wisdom. So this frame and these window frames and this window sill here are the worst of the whole back of the house. The rest of it's pretty good because it's more protected by the roof. This kitchen window is not so protected and it's really rough. So it needed a lot of attention. So had to take it right back. By the way, if you spend any time in Japan and you see a window like this, it's a kitchen. It's amazing. The designs over the years are all the same. So all the houses of this era, no matter where you go in Japan, that's what the kitchen window is going to look like. So a lot of stuff's like that in Japan. You know, everybody has the same design kitchen window. Everybody has the same design external light. If you spot one of the external lights on the outside of this old house, it's a classic and it's typical of this age. So as we walk around our neighbourhood, you see those windows. That's the kitchen, and you'll quite often hear pots and pans being banged around in there because it's the kitchen. So actually hit it with some sealer first, some external sealer, and then gave it its first coat, and then eventually gave it a second coat too. But the rest of these windows and window frames were fine. They were pretty good. So just basically gave them a coat just for protection. So again, not a lot of people see the back of this old house, but we do. But really most of this work is just to preserve it, because keep in mind, under that tin is mud. Under that tin are mud walls. So you can't have water getting in there. It's just really, really bad if that happens. So this is really to preserve the house. And it looks better too, doesn't it? So that's the final clean of those windows, giving them a really nice clean with some window cleaner, and put the insect screens back in. This was a good day. Finally, when the last day of the job, it was good. The rain had stopped, the wind had stopped. It was really nice. This time of year is really nice. About 13 degrees out there. So you can work hard all day and not feel hot. So, time for a before and after, guys. Here's the before. So it hadn't been touched in 10 years since our first renovation 10 years ago. So it lasted pretty well. But it was a bit of a quick job we did 10 years ago too. So this time was a bit more thorough. How's that? Does that look better? Somewhat. Very satisfying. Even the kitchen window's looking a bit better too. Anyway, there'll be more of these coming, guys. Haven't finished yet. A few more walls, a few more places need some work. It never ends. More videos coming soon.